The film opens in Los Angeles during the deep hours of the night, where we are introduced to the main character, Lou. He is a burglar currently trying to sabotage a gated fence at a railway site. Shortly after, he finds himself apprehended by a security officer, who is taken aback by the damaged gate. The officer asks for Lou's identification, and Lou begins to comply while adamantly declaring his innocence. Suddenly, he snatches the guard's watch and makes a swift escape along with the fence. In the next scene, Lou arrives at a scrapyard to sell the stolen fence. He asks the scrapyard owner whether he can get a job, expressing his need for stable employment. Lou insists that he is a diligent worker and that he performed well in school. However, the owner refuses to employ someone with a criminal past and sends Lou away. Frustrated, Lou makes his way home, but on his journey, he spots an accident scene surrounded by several police vehicles. Intrigued by the commotion, he pulls over and approaches the scene, where he notices two cameramen recording the event. Lou watches closely as the police officers pull an injured person from the vehicle. Once the officers finish their task, Lou approaches one of the cameramen, named Joe, inquiring about which news channel he works for. Joe replies that he intends to sell the footage to the highest bidding channel. Captivated by this possibility, Lou attempts to ask additional questions, but Joe receives a call pertaining to another situation and walks away. When Lou arrives back home, his mind remains occupied with what he witnessed. He switches on the television and starts channel surfing. As the first light of dawn breaks, he finally spots the footage of the accident being aired on a news network. The following day, Lou decides to steal a bicycle from the roadside and brings it to a pawn shop. He trades the bike for a camera and a radio scanner. That evening, Lou finds himself seated in his vehicle, tuning into the police radio, eagerly anticipating any reports of incidents happening in his vicinity. Not long after, he catches wind of a situation unfolding and quickly makes his way to the specified location. Upon arriving, he begins recording a scene involving a man who has been brutally assaulted by a carjacker and is in critical condition. However, he gets so close to the action that law enforcement is compelled to clear the area of all photographers. Consequently, Joe, another cameraman on the scene, becomes furious and reprimands Lou for interfering with their work. Afterward, Lou makes his way to a news station named KWA6, where he has a meeting with the director, Nina. As she reviews the footage, she is taken aback by the graphic level of violence depicted. Convinced that it will engage viewers' interest, she decides to acquire the video. During their discussion about the price, Lou asks for a substantial amount, but Nina counters with only a fraction of his asking price, which he ultimately agrees to. Following this, he inquires about potential employment or internship opportunities, but Nina turns him down. Instead, she suggests that he continue capturing more such footage and bring it to her, noting that stories involving affluent white individuals as victims tend to attract more attention. Later that night, Lou returns to his home and is thrilled to see his footage broadcast on television, filling him with a sense of accomplishment. The following morning, we find him at a diner, patiently waiting for someone. It turns out he is conducting an interview with a young man named Rick, looking to fill the position of his assistant. When Rick arrives, it quickly becomes apparent that he is facing financial difficulties and lacks any experience in this line of work. Despite this, they engage in some negotiation, and Lou ultimately agrees to compensate him with a modest payment of $30 for each night he works. In the evening hours, the two companions sit in their vehicle, attentively listening to the police radio. When they get wind of an accident report, Lou instructs Rick to read the directions aloud as he navigates the car. Lou then drives recklessly, which makes Rick anxious and leads him to provide incorrect navigational cues. Consequently, they arrive at the scene 5 minutes later than intended, only to find that another cameraman has already recorded the event and the victim has been transported away via ambulance. This infuriates Lou, who reprimands Rick for the oversight. Not long after this incident, they receive news of another occurrence and manage to get to the location just in time. Upon arrival, they learn that a robbery has taken place at a residence, but unfortunately, there's nothing particularly interesting to document. Seizing the opportunity while the police are preoccupied, Lou decides to slip into the house. He begins searching through the kitchen and eventually discovers bullet holes in the refrigerator. Lou takes several photographs and rearranges some family pictures to ensure that the bullet holes are captured in the same shot. He also secretly films the couple who are victims of the crime as they speak with the police officers on the scene. Later, when Lou presents the footage to Nina, she expresses her admiration. Since they possess the only authentic images of the victims' faces, she feels confident that their ratings will significantly increase. One of her colleagues, however, is less enthusiastic about the footage and points out that it could be considered trespassing. Nina, nonetheless, brushes off his concerns and commends Lou for his excellent work. In the days that follow, Lou and Rick continue to gather an abundance of new footage showcasing various disturbing incidents. Lou continues to successfully sell his footage to Nina, managing to accumulate a considerable sum of money in the process. With these earnings, he enhances his gear and purchases a faster vehicle for his work tasks. One evening, Lou arrives at the scene of a car accident, eager to gather some exclusive content. While the driver is distracted, he sneaks away towards a deceased individual lying a short distance away and begins filming. In his quest for better shots, he even shifts the body into a position where it is illuminated by nearby headlights, allowing for clearer images. Later on, when he shares the recordings with Nina, she expresses her admiration once again. After handing him his payment, Lou takes the opportunity to invite her out on a date. Although it seems that Nina has some affection for him, she declines, stating her preference for maintaining a professional relationship. However, in the following scene, we find out that Lou has indeed secured a dinner date with Nina at a restaurant. During the meal, he proposes the idea of becoming romantically involved, but she makes it clear that this is merely a courtesy invitation. Lou then reminds her that before he started providing his videos, her station was struggling with the lowest ratings in the area. He makes an implicit threat, saying that if she doesn't agree to his terms, he will stop supplying her with his footage. Taken aback by his newfound assertiveness, Nina realizes she has little choice but to meet his demands. The next day, a plane crashes nearby, but upon Lou's arrival at the scene, he discovers that someone else has already filmed all the action. Feeling disheartened, he manages to capture only a handful of random clips and later presents them to Nina. In a fit of anger, she scolds him for failing to secure any exclusive footage. Feeling immensely frustrated, Lou goes back home, erupts in anger in front of his mirror, and ends up shattering it. Soon after, he finds out through a news report that it was Joe who got the footage before him. Consumed by rage, Lou hurriedly makes his way to his garage and deliberately damages the brakes on Joe's van. Shortly after, when Joe heads out for work, he gets involved in a terrible car crash. Both Lou and Rick quickly make their way to the site of the accident, where Lou starts recording footage of his rival gasping for air. This situation makes Rick quite uncomfortable, prompting him to urge Lou to stop filming. Nevertheless, Lou, acting erratically, brushes aside Rick's worries, claiming that they are simply doing their job. A few days later, Lou tunes into a police radio channel and hears about a shooting incident at a luxurious residence. He races to the location ahead of the police and manages to film two suspects making a quick getaway in their vehicle. Once there, Lou stealthily enters the house, discovering multiple lifeless bodies strewn about. He excitedly begins to capture footage of the scene from various angles. Additionally, he films an empty crib meant for a baby, thinking it will evoke a sense of dread in viewers. It isn't long before he encounters a surviving victim who is struggling to breathe. Instead of rendering assistance, however, Lou continues to record him. Hearing the distant approach of police sirens, Lou quickly makes his escape from the grim setting. In the following scene, Lou arrives at the television station and presents Nina with the exclusive footage he captured. An office colleague raises ethical concerns about airing such graphic content, but Nina seems unconcerned. Lou then proceeds to demand a substantial amount of money, initiating a negotiation process with Nina. Ultimately, she concedes to a staggering $15,000 payment. However, Lou is not content with this sum alone. He begins to articulate his further terms. He firmly states that he will not engage in any more negotiations and insists that she must meet all of his financial demands. Additionally, he requests that the name of his company, Video Production News, be displayed in the subtitles during television broadcasts. On top of this, he demands that Nina facilitate introductions to all her staff and higher-ups. Despite her bewilderment over his coercive requests, Nina reluctantly acquiesces, unwilling to jeopardize her television rating points. The following morning, as Lou reviews his footage with a sense of accomplishment, he hears a knock at his door. To his surprise, detectives have come seeking information about his potential involvement in the recent incident. They ask for a copy of the video he recorded, and Lou hands them an edited version that intentionally omits any sighting of the escaping suspects. He asserts that he saw the criminals departing but lacks the actual footage of them. Once the detectives leave, Lou takes the initiative to search for the criminal's license plate online, successfully locating one of their residences. Later in the evening, Lou and Rick head to the address, where Lou reveals his intention to stage an arrest and capture the event on film. Rick, feeling a surge of fear at this idea, flatly refuses to put himself in harm's way. He points out that Lou has only been paying him $30 for several months, a situation he considers quite unfair. Rick demands a raise of $75 for each night of work or he threatens to alert the authorities. Faced with no viable alternatives, Lou begrudgingly accepts his demand. Not long after their discussion, They spot the suspects exiting the residence and decide to follow them discreetly. The criminals soon enter a nearby restaurant, providing Lou with the perfect moment to call the police. He notifies them about the presence of 2 armed individuals inside the establishment and emphasizes that these are the same people responsible for the family murder from the previous night. The 2 men wait outside, prepared to document the moment of the suspect's apprehension. As time passes, the police finally arrive, resulting in a tense shootout between the law enforcement officers and the criminals. Tragically, 2 innocent bystanders lose their lives amid the chaos. One of the suspects is shot dead, but the other manages to escape in his vehicle. Lou then heads back to his car, starting the engine and driving away, while Rick captures the ongoing pursuit of the police on camera. A few minutes later, the fleeing criminal's vehicle crashes and flips over, effectively bringing the high-speed chase to a stop. Lou parks his car nearby, eager to film the scene with the deceased bodies. He calls out to Rick, inviting him to step outside, claiming that one of the criminals has been killed. Rick enthusiastically agrees and starts recording the aftermath of the accident. However, just moments later, Rick makes eye contact with the criminal, who has miraculously survived and is still standing. In a frantic twist, the criminal shoots Rick twice, causing him to fall to the ground in agony. The fleeing suspect attempts to escape once again but is swiftly shot down by the police just moments later. As Rick lies on the brink of death, Lou records him, chillingly expressing that he orchestrated Rick's murder due to his blackmailing actions. Lou is convinced that Rick's incessant demands for more money would have continued indefinitely. In response, the unfortunate young man pleads that he was merely pretending and would never have acted on those threats. Ultimately, he succumbs to his injuries, while Lou captures a close-up shot of his face, showing not a hint of sorrow or regret. In the next scene, Lou shares the footage with Nina, who is once again filled with delight. The others at the television station react in horror, declaring it to be excessive, yet Nina holds a different opinion. Later, as she prepares to air the shocking footage, 2 police officers arrive, insisting on obtaining the tape as it constitutes evidence of a crime. Nina, however, obstinately refuses to surrender the material, asserting that it rightfully belongs to her. Subsequently, when a detective calls for Lou, he willingly makes his way to the police precinct. One of the officers accuses him of concealing crucial information and failing to disclose details regarding the criminals beforehand. When questioned about why he had been trailing them, Lou fabricates a story, claiming the criminal's vehicle was pursuing him. The detective labels him a monster, referencing how he had his assistant killed and recorded his final moments. Lou simply smiles, asserting this is all part of his line of work. Although the officer suspects he is lying, they lack sufficient evidence to charge him, leading to his eventual release. In the concluding scene, we see Lou has acquired 2 vans and assembled a team of 3 individuals to grow his business. He mentions that he won't compensate them for the time being but believes they will gain invaluable skills from the experience. In an eerie manner, he emphasizes that he will never request them to do anything he wouldn't be willing to undertake himself. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you want to watch more videos like this. Thanks and see you again soon. Take care.